what is Thanksgiving? It comes from appreciation from our heart, appreciating the things that God has done for us. And I'm sure that each and every one of us here today will have so many things to thank God for. If you doubt me, you just have to take a trip to the nearby hospital. There are so many people there today who are unable to even stand on their feet. There are so many people today who don't have food to eat. There are so many people who don't have clothes to wear. There are so many people who don't have the privilege of standing before these great people like you and I here today. I know that me and my family, we are grateful and we are thankful. So the Bible tells us that in all situations we must give thanks to God. A heart that is thankful and joyful, that is our way of expressing our gratitude and gratefulness to God. Because you find out that, see, we Africans, we like to express our joy and thankfulness by our songs, the gift of the song and dancing. That is one way we thank God. That's one way we bring our thanks to God.
From where I have started reading, we can find out that Paul briefly speaks about his past. Because everyone in here is some past. We have that negative past of ours. The time when we were not yet born again. And that past is so important for us to realize God's grace that was bestowed upon us. Amen, amen. So what Paul is saying is, you may look at my achievements and probably think that is because of my education or it's because of my connections. None of those. Or what I am right now, I am what I am because of God's grace. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to persuade you to notice that it's not about you, but it's about God's grace that you are still alive up to date. Amen, amen. Want to assure you, with God's grace, you can go far. With God's grace, you can conquer mountains. With God's grace, nothing can stop you. Why? Because His grace is so powerful that what a willpower cannot do, what connections cannot do, God's grace surpasses all. Amen and amen. So I want to leave you with this, ladies and gentlemen. You are here because of God's grace. And that grace, Paul says, to me it's not in vain. Which means there is a possibility that that grace can be in vain in someone's life. Depending on how you take it. Depending on how you appreciate it. I love my brother's testimony here. He's so thankful to God. Why? Because he realized that there is what is called God's grace. And that grace is sufficient to us. At one time, Paul was praying because he said, I have some issues with my life. I fasted 3 times. I prayed to God. And God's answer was simple. My grace is sufficient to you. Amen and amen. Regardless of what you are going through, my friend, God's grace is sufficient for you. Regardless of whatever is happening in your life, all I want you to understand and to know is that God's grace is sufficient for you. In Jesus' mighty name. May God bless you all. Amen and amen. Thank you.